So talking about ordered pairs and relations, this is kind of just review. Okay, so I want to review the coordinate system or coordinate plane with you. Remember that the origin is located at 0, 0. The y-axis is your vertical number line, and the x-axis is your horizontal number line. Okay, an ordered pair is a pair that's in order with your x coordinate and then your y coordinate. And there's a comma in between. Okay, so for example, this is 4, 5. So x is at 4. So you go to 4. And then you go to 5 on your y, and it's where they meet. So that means it would be right here. So on this one, point Q is located at 2, 3. So remember that your x is horizontal, your y is vertical. So here is 2, and here is 3. 2 on the x and 3 on the y. So that means that this is point Q. Point R, so label your x and y axis if they're not already, is at 5, 0. So we go to 5 on the x, 0 on the y is here. So that means that this would be point R. And then for point S, okay, we would do the same thing. Go to 3. And then notice this is 1.5. These are counting by ones. So it would be halfway between 1 and 2, which is approximately right there. So that would be point S. Okay, so then we have a few things that are new terminology. A relation is a set of ordered pairs that belong together. Okay, think about if your family, it's people that you have a relationship with, you're associated with. Okay, these can also be shown in a table or in a graph. Okay, domain is your x coordinates or your x values. Range is the y coordinates or y values. Okay, so here would be these as our relation. They're listed out. These same ordered pairs are listed vertically here so that you can see that all of your x coordinates make up your domain and all of your y coordinates make up your range. Okay, so we see that here. And then remember we said that these can be represented in a table. So notice we have X and then we have Y, or in a graph, same situation, okay? Your domain, another word for domain is also input. And another word for range is output, okay? So the reason is that what happens with your range is dependent upon what happens with your domain. We've talked about that a little bit before, and we will talk about that more in the near future. Okay, and then we just have a few of these to do together. So for numbers 1 through 4, we are just graphing these points. So F is at 6 and 0. Okay, so point F, we go to 6 and then it's at 0, so that's here. Okay, remember that these are X and then Y, always. Okay, so that is point F. Point A is at 2, 5, so 2 and 5 is point A. Okay, point W is at 4, 1, so we go to 4 on the X and to 1 on the Y, and that is point W. And then point Z is 0, 1, so we go to 0 on the X and up to 1 on the Y, so that is point Z. Okay. Then down on the bottom left corner, we're just writing the coordinates for each point. Since this coordinate plane is not labeled numerically, there are no numbers, then we can just assume that every line is counting by 1. So if we look at J, J is over 3 on the x-axis, and it is up 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y-axis. So J is at 0.34. Okay. Point K is at 2 on the x-axis, and it is up 1. Okay, so that means it's at 0.21. Point L, notice we had to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 0.5 on the x, and it's at 0.2 on the y. 5, 2 is its location. And then point M, notice that we've gone over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for the y-axis, this means from the origin, we have had to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well. So it is at 0.66. For numbers 9 and 10, we're just asked to find the domain and the range. So remember, the domain is all of the x values, okay? So that means that we would just find our x values. So our domain is 3, 1, and 4. Remember, range is all of your y values, okay? So those would be located here. So our range is 4, 5, and 2, okay? Same thing for number 10. So the domain is the x values. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. The range would be all of the y values. So 3, 6, 3, and 7. For number 11, we are just filling in the table and then the graph to represent this relationship. So 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. Okay, so if I have 1 quart, I have 2 pints. If I have 2 quarts, well, then I'm going to have 4 pints. If I have 3 quarts, I'm going to have 6 pints. If I have 4 quarts, I'm going to have 8 pints. Okay, and then I'm just going to graph that. So 0.12, 0.24, 0.36, and 0.48. Okay, and then that would be the end of that. Please let me know if you have questions.